I went to my family's cabin to be alone. I didn't expect to fall in love. I never thought I'd post something like this, but my head is still spinning and I can't stop replaying it. 2 weeks ago, I drove up to my family's cabin. It's tucked away in the woods with no cell service, no neighbors, and a fireplace that only works when it feels like it. I went there for one reason: to be alone. My last relationship ended badly, and I needed space from everyone and everything. I got in late, made a cup of tea, and sat by the window watching the trees sway in the wind. The first night was quiet, the kind of quiet that feels heavy but not suffocating. I slept better than I had in months. The next morning I heard someone humming outside. It wasn't a tune I recognized, but it was gentle. I peeked through the curtain and saw a woman kneeling in the garden patch by the porch. She was wearing an oversized sweater, hair tied up messily, and she had the kind of smile that makes you forget the world's sharp edges. I opened the door and, half awkward, half curious, asked if I could help. Turns out she's the caretaker's daughter, and she comes by every spring to check on the place. We ended up talking for an hour, about books, about our favorite seasons, about how she hates coffee but loves the smell of it. Over the next few days, she just happened to be around when I was chopping firewood, walking the trail, or making breakfast. We'd cook together in the cabin's small kitchen, standing so close I could feel the warmth radiating off her. She'd laugh at my bad jokes. I'd pretend not to notice her watching me when she thought I wasn't looking. One night, it rained so hard that the power went out. I lit a few candles, and she showed up with a blanket and 2 mugs of tea. We sat by the fire, sharing stories like we'd known each other for years. At some point, she fell asleep with her head against my shoulder. When the rain stopped, I should have told her good night. Instead, I kissed her. It was soft, unplanned, and somehow inevitable. She kissed me back like she'd been waiting for it. The rest of the week felt like something out of a movie. Cooking together, hiking to the ridge, watching the stars in silence. I'd gone to the cabin to be alone, but I found myself wanting to be with her more than anything. On my last day, she helped me pack up. At the door, she tucked a folded scrap of paper into my pocket and said, "Open it when you're home." I didn't wait that long. It said, "Spring is my favorite season. Maybe because it's when you came. I'm going back next weekend. This time, I'm not going for solitude. Update. Hey everyone, I didn't think so many people would care about my little cabin story, but your messages made me smile more than I've smiled in months. And I have news. I went back to the cabin last weekend. I wasn't sure if she'd be there or if maybe I'd romanticized the whole thing. I kept telling myself not to expect too much, but the moment I turned onto the gravel driveway, she was there, sitting on the porch steps in the same oversized sweater, like she'd been waiting for me. She just grinned and said, "You took long enough." This time, it was different. There wasn't that awkward getting-to-know-you space. We were comfortable. We cooked dinner together the first night and ended up slow dancing in the kitchen to a song playing from her phone. She doesn't dance well, but neither do I, so we just laughed our way through it. The second night, we stayed up late on the porch, wrapped in the same blanket from before, talking about everything from childhood memories to where we want to be in 5 years. At one point, she looked at me with this quiet seriousness and said, "You don't have to go back if you don't want to." And the crazy part? I didn't want to. Sunday morning, I told her I'd be back every weekend until the weather made it impossible. She just smirked and said, "Better make sure you bring coffee, for the smell, not the taste." Here's the part that really got me, though. When I unpacked back home, I found another folded scrap of paper in my jacket pocket. This one said, "The cabin doesn't feel empty anymore." So yeah, I guess my little solitude retreat turned into something way bigger than I expected. Final update. Hey everyone, I figured I owed you all one last update since you've basically been along for this ride from the beginning. It's been almost a year since I first drove to the cabin thinking I just needed a weekend away from the world. Instead, I found the person I didn't even know I was looking for. Since my last update, we've been splitting our time between the city and the cabin. The winters were rough, but she taught me how to stack firewood properly, and I taught her how to make my mom's famous cinnamon pancakes. We've had our share of small arguments, mostly about whether pineapple belongs on pizza. It doesn't, don't fight me. But honestly, life's been good, really good. Last weekend, I took her back to the ridge where we'd watched the stars on one of our first dates. I'd hidden a little box in my coat pocket the whole hike. She was rambling about how the first flowers would be blooming soon, and I just couldn't wait anymore. I stopped walking, turned her toward me, and asked if she'd marry me. Her first reaction was to laugh, like a happy, shocked laugh. And then she said, "Of course I will." She didn't even look at the ring before hugging me so tight I could barely breathe. We sat on the ridge until the sun went down, drinking coffee from my thermos and talking about the wedding, the house we might buy, the garden she wants, and how we'll still keep the cabin for ourselves. When we got back, I found one last folded scrap of paper in my jacket. I swear I don't know how she keeps sneaking them in there. It said, "Spring is still my favorite season." I guess it's mine now, too.